Good afternoon. I'm Detective Goodwin, Jeremy Goodwin, with the San Antonio Police Department Homicide.
All right. Now, Detective Goodwin, we got into a little bit about your current position, but we didn't really go into your background. So tell the members of the jury a little bit about that.
I'm, again, a part of the San Antonio Police Department Homicide. I graduated from the Police Academy in January of 2012. I worked patrol on Prue Patrol and then South Patrol. I took the test to become a detective in 2017, and I promoted to detective in March of 2017. At the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, I went to the traffic investigation detail, which handles all criminal fatality accidents and criminal accidents throughout the city. And in January of 2020, I moved over to the murder team, a part of the homicide unit.
Okay. And do you have any educational background that's relevant to what you do?
The academy, they teach us, of course, the Texas Penal Code, as well as the Criminal Code of Procedure, use of force. And then whenever you promote to detective, they go through training for all sorts of different units, including homicide, robbery, special victims unit, how to process scenes, to include gunshots, stab wounds, sexual assaults of that sort. And then you go through a CSI schooling on how to collect that evidence.
Okay. When you go through the CSI schooling, do you also learn about how to evaluate the evidence when you're looking at a scene, so you know how to collect it and how to use that in your investigation?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell the jury about that.
When you're in that school, they're teaching you how to photograph. Well, one is photograph the evidence. You're going to want to take, of course, overall photos of the scene, and as you find evidence, you're going to want to take medium photos and then close-up photos to show what the evidence is, to show the characteristics of that evidence, properly mark that evidence, whether it be the numbers 1, 2, 3, etc. And then you'll do diagrams of that sort showing where the evidence is, and then proper collection of that evidence to put it in the property room.
So, having gone through all of that schooling or education through your employment, does that help inform your abilities as a detective in violent or criminal offenses?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when you promote to detective, I know you said you started with TID, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Traffic investigations. What kind of additional training did you have to get to be able to be a competent TID investigator?
So I did crash courses to where they teach you how to do, that's through Texas A&M Engineering School, where they teach you how to do time and distance. If you're looking at cameras, you can look at a time and then see how long it is for impact to be able to calculate time and distance to calculate a speed. You're also looking at when someone, say for instance, gets hit by a car, you're looking at the damage to that vehicle to see the angle of impact, how it happens.
Judge, I'm going to object to narrative and relevance to this case of CID versus TID.
Okay.
Sustained.
I'll just move on from this training now.
Okay.
When you got to homicide,
Yes, ma'am.
did you get any additional training or education on how to properly evaluate crime scenes and investigate from a detective's perspective?
Yes, ma'am. We had a lot of people in the office that have been in homicide for decades, and it's on the job training. So when you go out to a scene, when you're first there, they will go with you and kind of walk you through the process of what certain scenes are and how, say, a gunshot or a stab wound, how it relates, and help you investigate that case.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that you joined the homicide detail in 2020, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So in your career, have you investigated many homicides?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when you get assigned a homicide to investigate, how does that process work?
So we have a rotation basis. So if you could just imagine like a whiteboard with, at that time, there's 16 different names on it. And if you're at the top of that whiteboard, you're up for the next homicide or homicide investigation. And then a couple people below you would be your wing detective, which means that they're going to assist you on that investigation.
And in December of 2023, did you get assigned a capital murder investigation?
Yes, ma'am.
How did that come about?
I was at work that day, and while at work, an emergency tone came out for an officer in trouble, and then as the scene progressed, Sergeant Diaz called me and advised that there had been two.
Objection to hearsay, Your Honor?
Not offered for the truth of the matter asserted, Your Honor.
Sustained to hearsay. Rephrase your question, State.
What prompted you to go to this location that you were talking about?
There were people deceased at the location.
Okay. And when you got that notification, you said you were at work that day. Do you recall what day that was?
It was December 26th of 2023.
And where was the scene that you were dispatched to?
5903 Danny K.
And is that here in Bear County?
Yes, ma'am.
And who went with you, if anyone, to the scene?
Detective Brian Ray went with me to the scene.
And you mentioned someone being your wing. Was he your wing?
Yes, ma'am.
When you got to the scene, what did you all observe?
When I got to the scene, I observed caution tape at the location. As I entered, I observed several different police officers at the location. Inside the caution tape, I observed a Kia Optima in the back parking lot behind Building 33.
Your Honor, may I approach the exhibits?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, I'll be trying to fix that. I'm just gonna come up here.
Yes, ma'am.
If that's okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. We're looking at State's Exhibit 1, which is a map. Do you recognize the map that is depicted in State's Exhibit 1?
Yes, ma'am.
And, I'm sorry. Can you point out for the members of the jury where you were dispatched and where you saw that Kia you were talking about?
I was dispatched to this apartment complex, which is 5903 Danny K. Building 33 is in the bottom corner over here, and the vehicle was parked near the back of that location.
Okay. And when you got there, I know you mentioned that there was caution tape. Why would there be caution tape around the vehicle like that?
Officers had placed the caution tape up to keep people back from contaminating the scene or be near, and not be near the scene.
And is that important, in your opinion, as an investigator?
Yes, ma'am.
Why is that?
It helps us with contamination of the scene. We don't want people messing with potential evidence, especially in this case, getting near the vehicle in question.
there, had the deceased individuals in the car already been taken out, or were they still in the car?
No, ma'am, they were still in the car.
Okay. And when you got there, were you aware of who the deceased individuals were in the car?
I had been advised of a possibility of who had been in there, and when I arrived, I spoke to Leon Valley Detective Mazziati, who had been there at the location and advised. Got his statement and then observed the car myself.
Okay. And did you eventually identify the occupants of the car?
Yes, ma'am. When I looked into the passenger side, I observed the front right passenger as Savannah Soto.
Okay. And did you eventually also identify the backside passenger?
The backside, yes, ma'am. That was Matthew Guerra.
Okay. And what did you do after you got to the scene and you began to observe the vehicle in its condition at that moment?
The first thing I did was I observed the vehicle. It was noted that the driver's side front driver window had been broken by EMS, and there was what we call a yellow blanket, which is basically just a yellow sheet that EMS provides on the front left window, and they had another yellow blanket on the back window of that vehicle. So I just started to walk around the vehicle, see what I can see.
Okay. And what did you see?
I first looked at Savannah. What I noted about her, she was wearing a white shirt and had what appeared to be a baby seat on top of her. I noted that her head was tilted to her right, and she had apparent blood coming down her right shoulder. I looked for any signs of injury because I could see the left side of her face. I looked for any signs of injury on her face, and I was unable to observe one. So I tried to get a better angle on the right side as her head was down, and I observed apparent blood on her shoulder. I tried to get a better angle to see from outside the vehicle if I could observe any injury. I was unable to. I did observe partial hair, like kind of like just displaced. So I believe that the injury possibly was something to the right side of her head.
On that side of the vehicle where you're observing Savannah, did you make any observations about the outside of the car?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you observe?
So when I was looking at the outside of that vehicle, there didn't appear to be any other defects or any of that on the outside of that car. No apparent blood on the right side, passenger side, and like I said, it just appeared that they were just in their vehicle.
Now, with after you made those observations, did you continue to make your way around the vehicle?
Yes, ma'am. So I looked at Matthew Guerra. Matthew, from the back right passenger side window from outside, I was able to get a view of him. He was lying with his feet towards me. So I was on the back right, so his feet were towards me. His legs seemed to be over the center console that was kind of extended down, and his buttocks appeared to be on the back left side passenger seat, with his body hunched over, with his left arm down towards the bottom of the interior. While looking at him, it was hard to tell just because there was a little tint on that window, but it appeared that Matthew had an apparent gunshot wound to the right side of his head. And due to that tint, it appeared that there was a black ring, which indicates possibility of a contact shot by the wound.
And with regard to the outside of the vehicle on the driver's side,
Okay.
what did you observe?
So I then observed the driver's side on the driver door at the frame where the door kind of closes against the frame of the car. On the driver door, there appeared to be some apparent blood coming out from the interior of the car. As I worked my way towards the back left passenger side, I observed the tire, the back left tire. The back left tire, the sidewall of the tire had what I believe to be blood on the sidewall of the tire, and then inside the rim there appeared to be apparent blood inside the rim. I looked into the tread of the tire. There appeared to be some blood in there, and I looked in the wheel well that goes up underneath the car, and there appeared to be blood in the wheel well. Due to observing that, it appeared to me.
Objection to narrative, Judge.
I'll ask the next question. When you were describing the blood in the wheel well, you kind of demonstrated your hand like this. What
Yes.
is that? What does that mean?
So if liquid gets into a tire, and as you drive, if you have liquid in the tread, it's going to go into the wheel well. So I'm just showing the rotation of the tire and
Okay.
throwing the liquid into the wheel well.
So what did that indicate to you about how the blood got there?
It appeared to me that someone that had been bloody was placed against the tire, and the vehicle was driven after the blood had been placed there.
Okay. We're having some issues with this thing, so I'm gonna, if it's okay with the court, I'm gonna approach.
Yes, sir. And I think we have tech on the way, maybe, possibly.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Detective, I'm going to show you what's been already admitted into evidence, the state's exhibits 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and 29.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, we've already established that you were the lead investigator on this case, but I think I should clarify. As the lead investigator, are you charged with knowing all of the contents of your case?
Yes, ma'am.
So even though you didn't take these photos, are you familiar with what's contained in them?
Yes, ma'am.
As all of the evidence that we've already admitted into this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you to take a look at these photographs and just, I guess, for explanation purposes to the jury so they understand how you're getting to these conclusions, maybe pick out the best ones that show what you're talking about with the blood on the tire, the wheel well, and the...
Judge, I'm gonna object. If she wants to testify, maybe she can make herself a witness, Judge.
I'm just directing
Just-
my question, Your
right,
Honor,
just
but I'll break it up.
Thank you, and
Yes,
rephrase
ma'am.
your question.
Okay.
Keep it to question and answer.
Okay. Which photos of these best depict what you were referring to when you were talking about the blood kind of splattering inside the wheel well?
So State's Exhibit 28 would show blood into the wheel well.
Okay. And
I'm pointing to right here on the interior of that tire. I don't know if y'all can see.
once we get this going, I'll put it up.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh.
So what else about that picture played a role in your investigation?
So right here, trying to hold it up. Right here is the possible transfer that I'm talking about. It's a different color on the tire. As you can, a little dirty on this side, and then this appears to be wet. And then the rim, there appears to be apparent blood.
Okay. And in State's Exhibit 29, maybe? Anyway, all right, State's Exhibit 29. Can you point out for the jury where that kind of splatter is on the inside of the wheel well?
So right here where my finger is the apparent blood spatter that I'm talking about.
Okay. Now, what is contained within State's Exhibit, let's see. State's Exhibit, let's start with this one, 23.
So in State's Exhibit 23, it's just towards the driver's side, you have what appears to be apparent blood coming out of the interior of the car. The blood appears to be angled, which means it'd be moved possibly while driving. And then there appears to be some type of jewelry piece in the frame of the car.
Okay, so I'm going to, let's see those. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 26. What is in State's Exhibit 26?
This is a close-up photo of what appears to be blood coming out of the interior of the car and an apparent jewelry piece in the frame.
Okay, and what side of the vehicle is that photograph?
This is the driver's side, the back left passenger door.
Thank you. So after you made these observations, did you continue to make your way around the vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
And what else did you observe, if anything, as you were making your way around the vehicle?
As I moved my way around the vehicle, the only thing I was observing was apparent blood on the driver's side. I did not observe anything else on the trunk or passenger side or front of the vehicle.
May I approach Danielle?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 21. What are we seeing in State's Exhibit 21?
State's Exhibit 21 is from the front of the front left side of that vehicle with apparent damage to the driver's side window and the yellow blanket from EMS.
Okay. Is there any evidence of anything unusual on the roof of the vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
What is that?
Towards the top of the vehicle, hard to see and put my finger there, there appeared to be a bulge on the exterior of the car.
Okay. Your Honor, since we're having trouble, may I publish this to the jury the old-fashioned way?
Yes, you may. Do what you need to do, State, and I
Thank
know you're
you.
gonna need to walk around a little bit more.
Okay. I
That's fine.
appreciate it. Now, after you made that observation, or those observations about the outside of the vehicle, what happened next while you were on the scene?
Detective Size was contacted to get a search warrant for the vehicle so we could collect the evidence.
Okay. And while he was getting the search warrant, what were you and Detective Ray doing?
Detective Ray was canvassing, and I proceeded to talk to the family of Savannah Soto and Matthew Guerra.
Okay. And after you took care of those tasks, what did you do next?
Once the warrant got there, we proceeded to open the vehicle and look inside of the vehicle.
Okay. And after the warrant was obtained and you opened the vehicle, did you make further observations about Savannah and Matthew?
Yes, ma'am.
What were those observations? Let's start with Savannah.
Okay. When the front right door was opened for Savannah, it appeared she had been sitting in that position as she had lividity, which is a pooling of blood. As you're sitting there, the pooling of blood, the lowest part. She had lividity in her lower extremities. And she also had the baby carrier on top of her with some papers, mail underneath that.
At that point, when you opened the door, were you able to tell where her point of injury was, or not yet?
Not yet.
Could you make any other observations about her side of the vehicle, her front passenger compartment area of the vehicle at that point?
Yeah, so the front right passenger, from looking inside from there, it appeared that everything, well, there's a lot of blood on the towards the center console. The only apparent blood that I observed on her side was on her right shoulder area.
At what point did the car seat get removed from her belly? Was that when the MEs got there or earlier?
That was when the medical examiner got there.
Okay, so then we'll come back to that. From where you were able to see at that point, were you looking for anything else in the car besides looking at them?
I was looking at them. I was looking for any signs of a struggle, to include a weapon in the car. I was looking for any personal effects as far as phones, monetary things as money or jewelry. I was looking for all those things to see what was inside of there.
At that point, did you notice anything like that?
Not near her. I noticed by her left foot was a phone.
Okay. Did you notice anything else of value in her area?
Yeah, she had jewelry on her wrists and a necklace, and that's the monetary stuff that I observed on her.
Okay. And then with regard to if we're talking about the passenger back door being open, what did you observe from that angle?
Okay, so I'm observing from the passenger right side of the vehicle, back door is open. I'm observing Matthew's feet, looking towards his head. It appears that his legs are over the center console. The pants have apparent blood on them. And as I kind of move my way up his body, it appears he has something on his lap. I think it's a lighter. And then his body, I said, was hunched over. His left arm was hanging down. His right hand was near his groin. I noticed the apparent bullet defect in his head, and it appeared that there was that black ring around it. I also noticed what appeared to be a necklace or a bracelet near his head on the floor of the cabin.
When you were looking from the passenger side of the car, with regard to the back seat, did you observe anything that might be biological material?
From the I could see biological material on Matthew. I couldn't see anything on the passenger, like the back right passenger side. Everything was contained on the back left passenger side.
I'm gonna show you State's Exhibit 36. Okay. Can you illustrate or point out for the jury what you're talking about there?
So as I'm viewing it from this angle, like I said, I could see his feet and his pants. And then as he was bent over, you could see the jewelry hanging there, and then just some miscellaneous items on the bottom. But there was no apparent blood on that back right passenger seat.
Okay. And what did that tell you about this crime scene at that point?
I was believing everything occurred over on the left side of that vehicle, centered to the left side of that vehicle.
Okay. Thank you. May I publish? Your Honor?
You want to approach?
Yes, ma'am. Now, are you married, Detective Goodwin?
Yes, ma'am.
So do you know what women typically carry with them when they go out?
Yes, ma'am.
What's that?
Purse?
And did you observe any purses in the vehicle?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, after you made those observations from the passenger side, did you continue to look inside the vehicle from the driver's side?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what did you observe from that angle?
The first door I looked at was a driver door. As it was opened, there's obvious glass fragments as EMS had broken in, but looking towards Savannah, Savannah had apparent blood spots on her left arm. There appeared to be large quantity towards the center console. The driver's seat did not have a lot of apparent blood. It looked like it had been smeared or something had been sat against it. And then as I moved towards the frame of the car, there appeared to be droplets on the frame of the car, which stood out because of that, that black rubber that is on your car door. It was on that frame, which indicated to me that somebody was bleeding as the car door was open.
I'm going to approach you one more time. I'm probably going to approach you a lot more times, actually.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 41 and ask if you could hold that up for us and demonstrate what you're describing there with the blood droplets on the frame.
So this is the back right or back left passenger compartment. The frame is right here where the apparent blood is. That's where you close your door, that rubber seals in, and the blood droplets are on that, which would appear the door was open when the individual was bleeding.
Okay. And did you make any other observations about the frame of the vehicle right there?
Yeah, so it comes on the frame. Those blood droplets, it goes down, and like I said, it moves, which indicated to me that as it was leaking, someone was driving or wind or something would be pushing it. As you moved up over here, you got apparent blood up here, which stands out. As with the tire, it appears that something that had blood was transferred from the tire area back towards the open door.
Okay, let me see. Was there anything else of significance in this photo that you looked into or paid attention to?
I paid attention to the seat As you can see, this is the back of Matthew Guetta. You had blood or apparent blood right here on the edge of the seat that kind of seems to smear towards him, which indicated to me that individual bleeding was placed on there and kind of moved, and as it smeared the blood in that direction.
All right. May I publish the jury, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
And then let's talk about your observations as you, actually, hold on, before we move on. May I first?
Yes.
You?
Yes.
Pull close to you.
Yes.
Let's see. Now, we've been talking about your observations at the scene, but do you know where the vehicle was more thoroughly processed?
The vehicle, after Matthew and Savannah were taken out of the car, the vehicle was towed to 442 9th Street, which is our CSI processing lot. It's a secure lot for a search.
And was the vehicle photographed at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you observe and evaluate those photos for purposes of your investigation?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Now, when you were, even though these photos I'm about to approach you with are from 9th Street, were you able to observe the inside of the doors when you were at the scene?
Yes, ma'am.
Objection, leading.
Sustained, leaving.
What observations were you able to make about the doors while they were open at the scene?
The front right side, there was no apparent blood. Back right, no apparent blood. Front left driver door had apparent blood that streaked down. There appeared to be a smear before the blood streaked down, as there was a big smear and the blood went on top of it. And then on the back left, there was apparent blood on the door.
Alright, I'm gonna show you first what is admitted as State's Exhibit 55. What is contained within State's Exhibit 55?
This is the front right passenger door. No apparent blood, and then personal effects inside the vehicles, as well as Savannah Soto's phone.
What did that tell you with regards to the orientation of when the shooting occurred with regards to that location in the vehicle?
At this location, as Savannah was sitting there, it didn't appear there was any disturbance where she was at, and nothing was moved or changed anyway.
And was there any blood there on that door?
Nothing.
On the door.
Oh, on the door. There was just a little speck
Okay.
that was above, but there wasn't much, not like the driver's side.
Okay. And let's talk about State's Exhibit 58.
This is the back right passenger door. Again, no apparent blood observed on the door, and just personal effects on the bottom.
Okay. And do you know what the black powder is in the photo?
The black powder is the CSI trying to test for fingerprints.
Okay. Just two more and then, yes, okay. And then let's talk about State's Exhibit 74.
State's Exhibit 74 is the back left door, right behind the driver door. You have apparent blood on here, but that long streak was caused by removal of Matthew Guetta by medical examiner. However, the other blood on there was observed at the scene, and then you had the frame again where you have blood on the frame of the vehicle.
Okay, so you personally know that that's from the medical examiner?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then was there anything about the rest of the blood that stood out to you as you're conducting your investigation?
Again, it's just the droplets on the frame of the car where that black rubber would be, so it showed me that the door was open when somebody was actually bleeding on it.
Okay. Now State's Exhibit 79.
State's Exhibit 79 is the driver door, apparent broken window with apparent blood on the door streaking downward. And then at the bottom here, you have an apparent smear that happened as the blood was still traveling down. And then you had apparent blood on the frame of this as well, where apparent blood droplets were observed on the frame of the car, which indicated to me that the door was open when someone was actively bleeding.
Okay. And which door was this again?
This is a driver door,
Okay.
the front left side.
All right. May I publish these to the jury, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am. Do we want a break? IT is here.
Yes, if the court would allow it.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take a brief recess so IT can look at the, oh no. All rise for the jury. Okay, thank you, may be seated. State, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right, if I could retrieve these exhibits, have a working, oh no. All right. So when we left off, you were telling us about the pulling that you noticed in the frame of the car on the front side.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that, am I remembering that correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. I'm going to publish what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 33. Zoom in here. Is this what you're referring to?
Yes, ma'am.
And what were you telling us about this that played a role in your investigation?
So what I was looking at, like I said, was the shards of glass obviously were from EMS. The apparent blood on the left side of that driver, you could tell something, there was blood there and something had moved, so it caused what appears to be a transfer. And then as it came down, got the apparent blood, and then on the frame, I'm looking at these right here, all the way down, but this shows that the door was open when someone was actively bleeding. And how do I clear this?
So
Oh, okay.
just so you know, Ross can do it too, but I'll show you how to do it as well.
I'll just hit that button.
Yeah, hit that button.
Okay.
And then when it opens, there's a clear at the bottom on the left, the word clear.
Gotcha.
So with regard to what you could see at that time, did you make any observations about anything else on the inside of the car? The steering wheel, the center console, anywhere else inside the car?
Yeah, so I'll start with the steering wheel. The steering wheel had apparent blood on it, as well as the center console. As I looked up, as I'm kind of kneeling down looking up towards the visor, I observed what appeared to be a bullet defect near the driver visor of that.
I'm going to publish State's Exhibit 38 and see if you can identify for us what you're talking about.
Right here.
And do you have any knowledge as to what, if anything, was in that defect?
Inside the defect, the crime scene was able to get a bullet out of that was underneath the fabric on the frame of the car.
Now, when you're continuing to walk around the car, are you looking for anything else?
I'm looking for, again, like I said, personal effects, any visible weapons that I can see, monetary items, any of that sort, to see if anything was left in there.
And these observations that you're making at this point, have the bodies been removed yet or not yet?
I was still looking, and the medical examiner arrived as I was making these observations.
Okay. When you were observing Matthew in the back seat, were you able to notice anything about the back side of the driver's seat?
Yeah, so on the back side of the driver's seat, on the headrest, there appeared to be a smear on the headrest, and just right here.
For the record, you're marking on sorry, stop marking.
Oh,
I need to tell you what it is. State's Exhibit 64.
sorry, man.
No, you're not.
Smear. So it appeared that something that was actively bleeding was placed against that and moved and caused the smear.
All right. Is there anything else about the back of that seat that was relevant to you?
Let me clear this real quick. So right here as well, you got what appears to be something that is bloody, placed against that seat, and it has moved or caused a slide, a smear of the blood.
Okay. And how about right here? If you look a little left.
Yeah, and on the frame of the car, so on what I would call the B pillar. So the B pillar is in between the driver door and the passenger door.
Actually, I'll call you so you can explain that to the jury. I'm gonna put 34 back up. Let us know where in the car you would refer to these pillars, as I suspect you'll probably refer to them again.
Yes, ma'am. So this right here is the A pillar of the vehicle. This right here is a B pillar of the vehicle. This right here is a C pillar of the vehicle.
Okay. So going back to the last exhibit, what were you talking about?
So right here on the interior B pillar of the car, you have apparent blood, and like I said, it appears that something has been placed, something that has blood on it has been placed on that and has caused a smear.
And you mentioned a moment ago the steering wheel. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 78. What are we seeing in State's Exhibit 78?
So this is from the driver's side, looking in. You see the steering wheel, which has apparent blood right on the airbag, as well as on the volume control on the steering wheel, as well as on the steering wheel itself.
Okay. And can you see anything else in the photo?
Let me clear. So as I explained earlier, there was blood on the center console, which I'm observing is this right here, as well as sandals over at the bottom that had apparent blood on them as well.
So while you all are making these observations, but the ME's office hasn't arrived yet, is there anything else going on within your investigation?
I'm trying. Well, again, Detective Ray was talking to people, trying to see if there's any video, or if there was anybody who knew when the last time the vehicle was observed at location. And I was observing the vehicle and talking to the family to see what could have possibly happened, or how they ended up at the location.
Okay. And with regard to Detective Ray's canvas, was that successful in finding any useful information?
No, ma'am.
Now, with regard to what happened after that, I guess let's move to when the bodies are removed.
Okay.
What happens at that point?
The bodies were removed by the medical examiner. I believe Matthew was first. And as they moved him to view his body to see if there's any signs of injury.
And were you there when the medical examiner's office did that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when he was removed, what, if anything, could you make out as far as his injuries?
So the only injuries observed appeared to be the bullet, apparent bullet defect to the right side of his head. And again, it appeared to be a contact shot as we had the black ring on the right side of his head. He had lividity on his back and possible drag marks on his back. But that was pretty much the extent of his injuries.
And I mean, that's from what you could tell at that point, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Was he still clothed at that point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you recall, trying to find the picture I want. Do you recall the position of his pants when he was still in the car?
Yes, ma'am. So the pants were pulled down a little bit with his, it appeared his buttocks was showing and his genitals, at least the top part of his genitals were out. And it appeared that the pants had been pulled down to expose that.
Okay. And at that time, did you reach any conclusions or have any suspicions as to how that may have occurred?
Based on the blood that I was observing in the frame, the blood on the back driver's seat, from the frame of the driver door and the frame of the back, as well as the back left passenger side, I believed that Matthew had been moved from the front of the vehicle to the back of the vehicle, as well as the driver's seat, as there appeared to be blood there, but it was smeared or transferred to something else.
Okay, I'm gonna put up State's Exhibit 35 and ask for you to point out for us what you're talking about.
So as I said before, Matthew is leaning to his left towards the bottom of the cabin. His right hand is near his hip. His pants are pulled down, exposing the genitals, and his left arm is hanging over the seat. I'm looking at the blood right here, as well as here on the frame. As like I said, that door, that black rubber would have closed that, so the door would have been opened.
Okay. And you said that his genitals were exposed. Thankfully, we can't see that in this photo, but when you were there at the scene, could you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you said that based on the blood, that it appeared that he had been pulled in from which side of the car?
It appeared from the back left passenger side. So I'm looking at the back left tire, and then the blood going up towards the back left door that was opened, being placed in there.
Okay. And when you're, looking at the clues and the evidence that you have in front of you, are you taking into account the tire too?
Yes, I'm taking into account the tire. Yes, ma'am.
Now, I'm going to publish State's Exhibit 37 that is from the other side of the car.
So this is viewing from the back right side of the vehicle. It was hard to see from that angle until you went around that his pants were pulled down. Matthew, like I said, is hanging over. The apparent bullet defect is over on the right side of his head. And then you have apparent blood on his pants. And then possibly, like I said, a lighter.
Was there anything about the blood on his pants that informed your opinion?
It was believed that at one point when he was placed in that he could have been pulled feet first.
I'm
Whether
going to object to speculation in his framing of the answer.
Your Honor, based on his experience as an investigator, I'm just asking for his opinion based on the crime scene and the clues that he's observing.
I'm sustaining speculation if you want to rephrase your question.
Okay. Based on the clues at the scene and your investigation into this offense, what did the blood on those pants indicate to you?
he was pulled in.
And what were you looking at on those pants?
I was looking right here on those pants.
What is it here?
That appeared to be like a handprint.
Okay. Now, did want to talk to you a little bit about Savannah's condition after the car seat was removed.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm gonna publish State's Exhibit 32. When you first observed Savannah, where was the car seat?
The car seat was on her belly. You could see the indentions right here. Was on her belly. You had apparent mail and other paper effects that are now down at the bottom underneath that car seat.
Say that for me. Now, looking at her belly, is there anything about the appearance of her belly that informed your opinion as to where the car seat was when the shooting happened?
So the car seat, from looking at this, was not on top of her at the time of the shooting, as there was apparent blood right here streaking down her belly, down towards the genital area, and then you also have blood on the leg over here. So it appeared from the blood that the car seat was not there at the time.
Okay. Now, talking about the car seat itself, did you have an opportunity to observe the car seat and the photographs of it?
Yes, ma'am.
And did there appear to be any significant amount of blood on it?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And what did that tell you about the positioning of the car seat when the gunshots were fired?
That would have had to been away from the front of the cabin.
Now, I'm going to show you one more angle of Savannah. State's Exhibit 31. Now, in State's Exhibit 31, where is the car seat?
So the car seat's on top of her.
Okay, so was this before she was removed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you notice anything about her arm that played a role in your evaluation of this crime scene?
Oh, yes, ma'am. There appeared to be blood is here and then over on her arm. And then she was also appeared to be clasping a towel, which indicated that her arm was near the center console, or she was in the same position as when she was shot. Sorry.
Somebody?
Yeah. It's clear.
Does there appear to be an area on her belly where there isn't much blood?
Well, you got the blood right here, down where the arm is, and then down up over here where her arm would be, like top of the belly, is where I didn't notice anything over on this whole side.
So you said where her arm would be.
Well, like up, like if she's sitting up here with her arm like this, where her arm would be, that's her arm deflected. There's a void there, so there was no blood over in this general area.
Okay. You said a void. So, can you like maybe, is it okay if he stands up here on it? Just to demonstrate?
What's,
Just the arms.
sure.
Just demonstrate to the jury how you would expect her arms to be.
So if her arms are either sitting like this or here, if her arm is up here and you a bullet or blood comes and it hits here, you're going to have a void here. If your arm drops, you're going to have a void because your arm was up here blocking.
That's all, thank you. All right. So, after the bodies were removed, and for the record, I removed the photographs from it. After you removed, or not you, after the bodies were removed from the vehicle and the ME's office arrived, where did the ME's office take them?
They examined Matthew first, and then I think Savannah second, and then they took him to the Bexar County Medical Examiner's office.
Okay. And what did you do at that point? Did you look further into the car at the scene?
Well, first I observed Savannah as a medical examiner process, and her injuries were to the back right side of her head, apparent bullet defect, and then the medical examiners took them, and then I viewed the inside of the car from there.
Okay. You said the back right side of her head. Did you attend the autopsy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I'm not going to ask you for any medical conclusions, but just from visual observation, Can you generally point out for the jury where her, the entrance wound was?
It was right over here.
Okay. And was there an exit wound?
No, ma'am.
What about with Matthew? Was there an exit wound?
Yes, ma'am, there was.
Okay. And, after you observed their injuries, when they were removed from the vehicle, you said you looked further into the car. What were you looking for?
I was looking again for any more personal effects, to include a gun. And then I was also looking at the bullet defect to see if it had ricocheted off of anything. I was looking to see if there was any damage to the steering wheel, to the dashboard, to the windshield, any of that, to see how that bullet went up into the ceiling.
Okay. And did you observe any other damage that would be consistent with that apart from the defect in the headliner?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And you said you were, or did you say that you were looking for a weapon?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. And did you observe any weapon in that vehicle?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And was the vehicle thoroughly searched once it got down to 9th Street?
Yes, ma'am.
And was any firearm ever recovered?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you observe any projectiles in the vehicle?
Judge, I'm gonna object to the fourth leading question.
Stay the lady.
What else did you observe in the vehicle?
I observed, like I said, the necklace. There was a live round, a 380 round in the back left behind the driver's seat, as well as a spent shell casing, 380 spent shell casing in the back seat. There was a globe that appeared to be attached to the necklace, like a pendant, like a globe pendant. There was Savannah Soto's phone, and then a projectile was taken from the roof.
When bodies were removed from the car, did you make any further observations about the car seats inside of the car?
Well, that's at the car seat. There was.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean the baby car seat, I mean
Oh.
like the seats in the
Oh.
car, like after they were removed.
Yes, ma'am. I looked again just to double check everything, and again the driver's side appeared to have that transfer. Passenger side, front right passenger side, had apparent blood on the right side near that B pillar of the passenger side. The back seat, back right, didn't have much or any blood on the back right passenger.
Let me stop you there real
ma'am.
quick, Detective. I'm gonna publish State's Exhibit 54. What are we seeing in State's Exhibit 54?
This is the front right passenger of the vehicle.
And what observations about the blood do you make from that?
So this right here is consistent with the injury to Savannah's right side, back right, where it streaked down. And then over here is consistent with someone being shot near the center console, and the blood just streaks straight down.
And then, in State's Exhibit
Hold on.
53, what does this photograph contain?
It just, the photo is of the front right passenger again, with the apparent shards from glass that EMS broke, with the apparent blood of what appeared to be Savannah on the side.
What about on the seat? Did you make any observations on the bottom part?
So there appears to be bodily fluid or something on that seat. I guess it's the blood came down.
Okay. And then, what about, let's see, this is State's Exhibit 49.
So this is the back right passenger seat, with apparent personal effects at the bottom, and the seat appears to not have much of any apparent blood.
And then State's 52.
This is the back left passenger side where Matthew was at. You have the apparent blood where he was resting in the center. Over on the bottom, you have what appeared to be, like I said, a slide mark or a smear going towards the center. and then you have apparent blood in the center, center console of the back seat, as well as his key fob to his vehicle.
And did the blood that you observed on the seats after they were removed, how did that inform your investigation, if at all?
It just more solidified that to me that Matthew had been moved to the back seat and Savannah did not move.
Now, here we go. This is State's Exhibit 76. Now, what is contained within State's Exhibit 76?
This is the driver's seat, front left side. You have apparent glass shards from EMS, as well as sandals with apparent blood on it, and then blood on the steering wheel as well as on the frame.
What does what does the location of the blood tell you about that area of the car, if anything?
So, again, on this one, on the frame, it appeared that those droplets were there once the door was open, as a person was actively bleeding.
I'm sorry, I meant the seat.
Oh, okay, on the seat. It appeared that the blood that had been on the seat had been possibly transferred to whoever had drove the car. As down over here, there appeared to be blood that came down and then it was transferred to something else, or smeared.
Did you say
Or smeared.
Okay. Now, after you were present for the bodies to be removed and your further examination of the vehicle at the scene, what did you do?
The vehicle was towed. Matthew and Savannah were taken to the Bexar County Medical Examiner's office, and I returned to San Antonio Police Headquarters to conduct a research.
Okay. Was anything else of significance found in the car, or anything else that you would expect to be in its absence was significant?
So when the medical examiner gets to the scene, they go through the pockets of the deceased. We didn't find a wallet for Matthew or Savannah, a phone for Matthew, house keys. There's a key fob, but no house keys. We didn't find any of those in Matthew's pockets, and Savannah didn't have a purse.
Okay. Did you eventually learn anything about how Matthew would make money at times?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you find any evidence of anything related to that in the vehicle?
No, ma'am.
And when I say that, what are you referring to?
I'm referring to narcotics.
Was there any money in the car?
No, ma'am.
The location of the projectiles that you mentioned earlier in the car,
Yes, ma'am.
what did that tell you as far as your investigation went?
The location of them, the live round and spent shell casing were in the back left near one another. During a shooting inside a car, normally majority of guns have the ejection port on the right, so you would expect if you're out in, say, in a field, they'd be on the right-hand side of wherever you're shooting. In a car, it tends to bounce and go to different places. But with them being in the same general location, it appeared that they had been fired in the vehicle.
Okay. And from the front seat, the back seat?
Just because they're inside of a car, it's hard to tell. I just appeared that they're in the same general location.
What happened with Savannah's phone after you retrieved it?
Savannah's phone stayed in the car for processing, and it was transported to 9th Street where they further processed it, and then it was placed in the property room.
Okay. Now, based on everything you knew at this time, did you start to have any suspicions as to whether they had done this, like this was self-inflicted, or if there was another person involved?
The original reports, people believed that Matthew might have done something to her. I kept that open, but with my observations of everything, I believe that somebody could have done something to them.
Okay. Now, what did you do after you left the crime scene? I'm sorry.
I went back to SAPD HQ and I conducted research on Savannah and Matthew.
Okay. And after you did that, did you, well, actually, I'm gonna back up to the apartment complex. Given that this occurred at an apartment complex, I know you said that Detective Ray did a canvass for witnesses. Was a canvass done for anything else at the location?
Any witnesses or any videos? By the time we were there and doing stuff, I think the management office was closed. We didn't get a chance to talk to them. So that was done the following day.
And was any video found that would have been of relevance in that location?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd like to publish an exhibit, please. Okay. Just for the record, I'm gonna play or publish State's Exhibit 14. Was there anything when you watched this video that stood out to you about the truck as it entered the view on the camera?
Ooh.
What happened there? Let me see.
So as the truck entered frame, it appeared it kind of didn't know which way to turn and kind of hesitated turning left. And then as it turned left, heading down the parking lot, I observed the bed cover at an angle, and then as it approaches more, you can see that's off center and at an angle as it passes.
Can you circle for us what you're
Yep.
referring to?
So I'm referring to this right here. And as it gets close, let me clear it so as it gets closer, I'll show you. It's off center. A little bit more, right there. So it's off center from here, and it's up at an angle this way. That's what I observed. It's on the next one.
we'll do the next one. What, did you make any observations just then, Detective?
Yes, so as a vehicle approached, another vehicle came, which appeared to be the victim's vehicle. It approached the truck with its lights off. The truck ends up turning its lights off as well. And then the driver of the truck gets out of the car and approaches the driver of the other victim's vehicle.
What, if anything, did you notice about the victim's vehicle as it comes around this corner?
Like I said, the lights are out. I mean, the only thing I could observe at that time, he uses his turn signal, but the lights are out, and he's approaching slow towards the defendant vehicle.
Okay. Now, at the time that you first viewed this video, did you have any indication who these individuals were?
No, ma'am.
Could you make out the license plate of the truck or anything like that at the time?
No, ma'am, I could not.
All right, I just paused it at 3 seconds into the third Channel 8 clip on State's Exhibit 14. What just happened in the truck?
A towel from inside the cabin appeared to be thrown or moved towards the male in the white tank top.
And what does he do with it?
He grabs it and appears to wipe down the door and speak to the individual inside.
And what does the individual inside do?
He steps out, and when I observed that, it did not appear to be Matthew, as Matthew is very tall and lanky, and that individual did not appear to be that tall.
And what do the vehicles do at this point?
The victim's vehicle goes towards Building 33 and goes behind Building 33. The truck does a U-turn and heads in the same direction as the victim's vehicle.
You mentioned when we were watching a previous clip that the lights were off. When we continued down that direction, were their lights still off?
Yes, ma'am.
And as the truck drove past in that frame, what observations can you make about the bed of the truck at that point?
It's still off center, and it's raised at an angle.
Okay.
Oh, that's the wrong one. You're seeing the victim's vehicle drive towards building 33. And then they'll go behind building 33. And then shortly later, you'll see the truck go in the same path.
Alright, and Detective, what time do we see them go behind that building?
It's right around,
Now, do you, from your investigation, are you familiar with the timestamps on these videos and whether they're correct or not correct?
yes ma'am.
And for this camera, is the timing of the timestamp, is that accurate?
Yes ma'am.
Okay. So what time do we see them go behind this building?
On December 22nd, around midnight and 1.
Okay. All right, Detective, how much time has passed at this point?
Around a minute.
Have they come out yet?
No ma'am.
All right, when the video ended, how much time had passed?
It's a little over a minute, then 15 seconds.
Next. All right, Detective, how much time has passed now?
2 minutes?
And any sign of them?
No ma'am.
What about now, Detective?
Yes ma'am, it's been about 3.5 minutes since they went back there.
And
Right now, the lights are still off.
Can you make any observations about the truck at this point?
Yes, ma'am. The bed of the truck is no longer angled. Doesn't appear off-center, but like I said, it appears flat.
Do you remember if the front of the apartment complex had videos?
Yes, ma'am, they did.
Now, Detective, do you know if these cameras were accurate?
No, ma'am, they're not. They're approximately 60 minutes off.
Okay.
It'd be around 0015. Back up.
So what would 0015 be?
0015 and 23 seconds is the victim's vehicle entering the apartment complex.
So that would that be before or after what we just saw?
Before.
Okay. And what time would that have been?
It's right around 11:59 and some change on December 21st, 2023.
Okay. I'm gonna play the second clip from that angle. And on this camera, Detective, do we ever see any vehicle exit?
Yes, ma'am. You see the truck around 2154, 002154.
And what time would that be once the time is correct?
Right around midnight. Midnight 8. Or not, oh, not midnight 8. Midnight 5. Sorry.
What time did you say it was?
2154. 002154.
seeing there?
You're seeing the truck still with no lights on, inner frame, and then it appears to take a right on Danny K.
And what time did the vehicle leave that location? In correct time?
Oh, around midnight 05.
Okay. And then, after you located this video, what did you do with that information?
In the next morning, that video was provided to our public information office to put out to the public to see if anybody knew of the vehicle.
Why did you do that?
But I couldn't observe any license plate on the vehicle. The gentleman that got out of the car appeared to have a distinct look, and there was a lot of public attention on it, and I was hoping that somebody would be able to identify the vehicle.
Okay. And do you recall approximately when the video was released to the public?
Do you mind if I refer to my report?
Yeah, can you refresh your memory?
It was on December 28th, I think around 15:30 hours,
What time is that in?
3:30 p.m.
Now, referring back to that video, when you were watching it, when you're, doing your investigation, did you, like, how many times did you watch that video?
Countless. I can't count.
What were you looking for when the cars were in the back where we don't get any camera footage?
I was looking for any movement as they're over. Like if you're looking at the back of the victim's vehicle to the left, there's yards, and especially in front of it, there's yards. But there's a wood pile over on that left-hand side. So I was looking for any type of movement to see if anything was ditched over there. If anybody walked away, I couldn't observe anything
Okay.
over there.
So, after the video was released, what kind of attention did it get?
It got a lot of attention. A lot of people started calling.
What did y'all do in regards to those calls?
When I provided the video to PIO, I asked them to take out the timestamp, as we had conflicting reports in the beginning about the date that Matthew and Savannah were last contacted, to try to limit the integrity of the case to only detectives that were working the case. We had to set up a tip line that night CID as well as homicide had to answer phone calls.
Did any of those tips help develop your investigation?
No, ma'am.
So after you obtained that video, at the time, I guess after you learned who they were, did you eventually learn where they lived?
Matthew and Savannah?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So what was the location of their home?
Their residence was at 6007 Grissom, which is a Valencia Lofts.
Okay. And approximately how far away is that from where they were found?
Approximately 8 miles, somewhere around there.
Okay. When you were, earlier you talked about canvassing that was done to help in the investigation. Was any other video attempted to be located that might help, I guess, kind of trace their movement?
Yes, ma'am. We went to the Valencia Lofts. Other detectives that assisted in the case went to Valencia Lofts. All the businesses that they could on Grissom. I went to several other businesses in the neighborhood east of Bandera, as that attached or was close in the close vicinity of that. We canvassed the neighborhoods. By the time we were able to recover the bodies, a lot of people's rings or any of those things had their time frames had lapsed, and they didn't have any more footage available. So we were only able to find the ones that we have in the report.
When you, after you learned of where the victims lived, did you ever go to that apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you went to their apartment, what was the purpose of going to their apartment?
The reason why I went over there was to do a search warrant on the location to see if there was any items of evidence at the location. So I wrote a search warrant, and Detective Size and I went to that location.
Okay, so you wrote a search warrant, was it granted?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And were you wearing a body cam when you went and did that search warrant at their home?
Yes, ma'am.
May I approach your honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Detective, I'm going to show you what's been marked as
State's Exhibit 157 for identification and ask if you recognize it.
Yes, ma'am.
What is State's Exhibit 157?
It's my body camera for the search of the victim's apartment.
Okay. What day did you go execute this search with Detective Size?
It was the December 28th of 2023.
Okay. And is State's Exhibit 157, apart from the modifications that were made by agreement to comply with the rules of evidence, were those, is the video a fair and accurate depiction of your time at that apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, State would offer into evidence State's Exhibit 157.
No objection. States 157 will be admitted.
All right. Detective, who's this other gentleman in the video with you?
Detective Size.
And where are you, what's the address of the location that you're at when you were received on video right now?
I'm at 6007 Grissom, and the apartment is 4201.
All right, Detective, I'm gonna pause it briefly. Where have you just entered on your video?
I have entered the victim's apartment, 4201.
All right, I'm gonna pause it at 14:16:49. Immediately in this frame, do you make any observations about the condition of the apartment?
As immediately when I entered, the cushions to the sofa that was in the living room were raised and moved. And then towards the kitchen, there was like a tree or a pot that had been turned over or pushed over. And on the kitchen counter appeared to be a sugar or flour of some sort sitting on the counter.
Okay. Will you circle on the screen where you saw those cushions that you mentioned?
So the cushions are here. Right when I come in, I could see that they're raised, and then clear this. The table with the plant here, and then the sugar is right here.
Okay, anything else?
Over on the right, this right here appeared to be removed. It was an air vent. It appeared to be taken off.
Right. Which, at this time, at 14:16:54, which direction is your camera facing?
I'm facing what appears to be the master bedroom.
If you look straight ahead, is there anything on the wall?
No, ma'am.
And what about the dresser? Do you notice anything?
The dressers here, they're open, and like somebody went through them.
just paused it right now, 14, 16, 59.
They're on the bed. Appeared to be all sorts of different miscellaneous personal effects thrown on the bed, as well as the bottom drawer over on the tall dresser open, and then the closet door was open as well.
Now, while you and Detective Size are doing this search, at this time, have you been able to decipher what has happened to them, or who, if anyone, was responsible for it?
Yeah, so by that time, I had gone to the autopsy, and I was investigating a homicide case, capital murder case.
But did you know who,
No, I did not know who.
or the circumstances of it?
No, ma'am.
What are we seeing at 14/18/52?
This is the closet, which appeared to have clothing and shoes of Matthew and Savannah.
Which room did you just walk into right now at 14:20:08?
I walked into the nursery for baby Fabian.
Based on your and Detective Si's search of the home and what information you had at that time, did it appear as if there was anything of evidentiary value in the apartment?
No, ma'am. Was known at that time that Gabriel, the father of Matthew, had kicked in the door the day they reported him missing. and went through the house, as well as Gloria, Savannah's mom, had gone in there with her son, and family had been in and out of that location, and there was nothing evidentiary found.
Okay. And that would have been on the day that they were reported missing?
Yes, ma'am, December 23rd.
What are you trying to do there, do you think?
I'm trying to open the door. The door was jammed. I couldn't open it.
What does that door lead to?
It leads to the patio.
Okay. After you locked up the apartment, did you do anything else there?
I just provided the key to management.
All right. Now, as we discussed earlier, being the lead detective, are you required to be familiar with all the evidence that's collected and provided in the investigation?
Yes, ma'am.
So have you seen the Leon Valley body cam
Yes, ma'am, I have.
from the welfare check?
Yes, ma'am.
So which one? Just 1 second, Your Honor, for the record, I just want to refer to the correct exhibit. I'm going to play State's Exhibit 9. Okay, and I fast forwarded to 1937. Now, what day and time is this video according to the screen, Detective?
It's December 23rd, 2023, at 1937 hours, which is 7:37 p.m.
Okay. Is this before or after Savannah and Matthew are reported missing?
It's at the time they're being reported missing from family.
Okay. But I guess, is that why the law enforcement is there?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as they enter the apartment, does it appear as if the sofa is disturbed at all?
No, ma'am.
What else, if anything, in this frame appears different from how it appeared on your body cam?
The sofa wasn't disturbed, and as well as the tree wasn't knocked over.
Do you observe anything on the counter?
No, ma'am.
How about now?
Still can't observe anything on the counter.
You don't see
And
anything on the counter?
oh, the candle's lit. I don't see the sugar that I observed, and then up in the top right, this appears to be in place.
When you say this, just for the record, what are you talking about?
The vent. Sorry.
Okay. You referenced the candle. What is its condition?
It's still lit, which means that it had been ignited before, or in a short time before officers arrive, or within a time for the wax to still be producing a burn.
Okay, and then do you see any? Where is the sugar in your video? If you would circle it on this one. Okay. Now, as the camera frame adjusts, where is this officer's body cam facing?
It's in the master bedroom,
In whose bedroom is that?
Matthew and Savannah's.
Do you observe anything on the wall?
There are purses or bags on the wall.
How about with the dresser in front of you?
The dresser, is not in the same condition as it was when Detective Sides and I were there.
Does the condition of the closet and its contents look the same or different in your video?
They are different.
Now, as part of your investigation, did you request, I'm gonna jump ahead just a little bit,
Okay.
but did you request, once you identified the truck in that video, a search warrant to be executed on that truck?
Yes, ma'am.
And upon doing that, did you also request a search warrant to be done for the infotainment system?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And after you got the results from that infotainment system extraction, what, if anything, of significance did you learn about the movement of that truck in relation to those videos we just watched?
My pleasure.
Yes, please.
Thank you. The vehicle had traveled to the Valencia lofts on December 24th.
Okay. So would the, and we're just gonna call it the suspect vehicle for our purposes right now. When the suspect vehicle traveled to the Valencia lofts, had, again, after, as your investigation progressed, did you learn, had the victims already been deceased at that point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And was that before or after the welfare check that was done that we just watched on that video?
It was after.
Was it before or after you and Detective Sides did the search warrant at the house?
Before.
And were you able to obtain any video from the Valencia lofts in your investigation?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just trying to get the exhibit number you're on. Okay. I'm gonna place the exhibit 93. All right, Detective, are you familiar with the video that I just put up on the screen?
Yes, ma'am. It's the camera that faces Grissom from 6007 Grissom.
And what is the date on this video?
December 24th, 2023. The timestamp is 1754, which is 5:54, but the cameras are approximately an hour and 22 minutes off.
Okay, so that would be what time if you do the math?
So it's 6. It's around 7, 16, 16?
7:16 p.m.
7:16 p.m., sorry.
Okay, so approximately.
Yeah.
All right. clock says 17:54:35, even though we know that that's off. What do we see right now in this video?
That's a suspect vehicle pulling into a location.
Now, second clip on this exhibit. What are we seeing in this angle, detective?
This is the entrance to 6007 Grissom from the main road, and it has a entrance gate to that location. And then you see the suspect vehicle enter an open gate.
And we're still talking about an hour and 22 off, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Third video from this angle, or from this apartment.
This is the front lobby camera where it shows the gate as well as the entrance into the management office, and you see the suspect vehicle pass by.
Fourth video at this apartment, what do you see?
This is the inside of the apartment complex. Right after you enter, the victim's apartment is to the right. You have to take a right to get to that location. You see the suspect vehicle drive that way and proceed to take a right towards the victim's residence.
All right. Which way do we see the vehicle travel?
It goes right towards the location of it goes right this way towards the location of, there's a parking lot right here, and you gotta walk to where the victim's apartment is.
All right. Do you see the vehicle travel down that way in the video, detective?
Yes, ma'am, it just went that way. Right there, you have it right there in the center.
Sorry.
Here.
Okay. All right. And then, let's go to the second file. Maybe the first clip.
Vehicle returns from that entrance, comes towards the front gate again, and it will end up parking in one of the parking spots.
The second clip.
This is just the vehicle parked at the location. What I was looking for was any type of movement in the vehicle.
What did you learn throughout the course of your investigation and in obtaining these videos about how those cameras function?
These cameras are motion camera, so if they don't have any motion in front of them, they will turn off for an extended period of time until motion happens, and they don't record unless motion occurs.
So from the clips we've watched so far, have you observed any movement from the vehicle?
No, ma'am.
In clip 5 or the second older? No, clip 6. Alright, do we see any movement?
Yes,
in the
ma'am.
vehicle?
A male, or what appears to be a male, comes from the back of the vehicle and enters the driver side door of that vehicle.
Alright, so we see the male coming from outside of the vehicle and going into it. How do you explain that, given what we watched on the videos?
It's the motion. So I think the motion of the camera is too far set off. So what you're seeing,
No, I'm gonna object to the speculation on that.
Sustain speculation, rephrase your question, state.
Based on your understanding of how the cameras function, what is your understanding of how we would have missed him get out of the car?
the motion didn't capture it.
Now I'm gonna take the 7th clip on the video. And did you observe anything in the car, happen in the car at that moment?
It appeared like a flashlight of some sort was illuminated.
Can you circle for this what you're referring to? Thank you. Alright, now the 8th clip in that video. Alright, so actually I wanna go back real quick. What timestamp is the 7th video on this clip?
It's 1804 on December 24th, which is 6:04 on their system, but it would be 7:26.
Alright, and then I'm gonna move to exhibit 8. And then what's the timestamp on this one?
1805 on December 24th, which 6:05 or 7:27.
Alright, and now the 9th video. What's the time?
Again, 1805, 6:05 or 7:27 on December 24th, 2020.
Okay, what do we see in that?
The front door opened, or the front driver door opened, and it appeared the person who got in that car exited the vehicle.
Okay. And then last clip from this file folder. And has the time advanced a little bit beyond that person getting out?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what did we just see there from the car?
You saw what appeared to be the vehicle locking, or the locking mechanism.
Okay. timestamp now.
1850 on December 24th, 2023, 6:50 p.m. or 8:12, I think, p.m.
So how much time has passed between when we saw that individual get out of the car and this moment?
Approximately 45 minutes.
And what does it appear that that person is doing?
Getting back into the vehicle. Unlocking the vehicle and getting back into the vehicle.
And now what are they doing?
Exiting location.
And what are we seeing in the second clip from the third folder of this video?
The suspect vehicle exiting the entrance exit gate for the Valencia lofts.
And third clip?
The suspect vehicle driving towards Grissom from the victim's location.
Fourth?
This is going to be the suspect vehicle entering the or exiting the location, turning on Grissom.
And the last video.
The suspect vehicle turning left onto Grissom towards Bandera,
And would that be?
towards his residence,
Whose residence?
the defendant's residence.
And what time is the vehicle leaving the Valencia lodge?
1851, almost 1852 on December 24th, 2023, which is 6:51, almost 52, 8:12, 8:13
PM?
p.m.
Now, apart from the video that you obtained from the Valencia lofts from the December 24th date, did you obtain any video from the Valencia lofts on another date that was of significance?
Yes, ma'am. I obtained a video for December 21st and 22nd.
Okay. I'm going that file, which is the same exhibit that is the folder labeled December 21st, for the record. So what is the date and timestamp of the first clip I just played? You're on first, detective.
December 21st, 2023, 22:09 hours, which is 10:09 p.m. With an hour and 22 minutes. It's 11:23 or 21. Sorry, 11:21.
What are you making an observation here? Why did you obtain this video clip?
I had noted that there was a tannish Toyota Corolla that pulled into the complex and parked by the front lobby of the location.
And did that become relevant as you continue to watch this video?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then the second clip, what are you seeing here?
That's a black Mercedes, or what appears to be a black Mercedes entering the location. It enters into the Valencia lofts and appears as the victim's vehicle is exiting location.
We'll get there.
okay.
What are we seeing on the third clip of that video?
That's the Mercedes entering the front entrance exit area.
So the tan vehicle that you referenced before, how come we don't see it on this video?
There's a pillar there that blocks a view. You can't see that parking lot area.
Did that vehicle go through that gate then?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, the fourth clip. What are we seeing in the fourth clip of this video?
So you have the black Mercedes pulling over to the side. And then backs into a parking spot. And just sits at the location.
Now the sixth clip.
The victim's vehicle is exiting from where they were parked. Comes over by the black Mercedes. Appears that it's going to turn in, and then we'll exit the location.
And what time is this happening on December 21st of 2023?
It's 22:19 hours on December 21st, 2023, which is 10:19 p.m. on the cameras, but it's an hour and 22 off, so it's 11:41.
And what happens after the victim's vehicle drives kind of towards the Mercedes?
The black Mercedes will follow the vehicle.
And the seventh clip. What do we see in the seventh clip?
You will have the victim's vehicle exiting the entrance exit gate, and then the black Mercedes will follow.
Now the eighth clip, what do we see?
You'll see the victim's vehicle go park where the other 10-ish Corolla was at, and the Mercedes will follow. The victim's vehicle, there's some parking up front, appear to park in one of those parking spots, and the Mercedes followed.
Alright, now the ninth clip.
You have the Mercedes leaving location, and then in the distance over by the front lobby area, you'll see a Matthew with the same, or a male with the same stature as Matthew, approaching where the Toyota Corolla had parked, and appears to be talking to somebody in the passenger window.
Now the 10th clip.
That Toyota Corolla will back up and exit the Valencia lofts.
And now the 11th clip.
The Toyota Corolla left.
And 12th clip.
And then the victim's vehicle will depart the location.
Switch cameras. 13th clip.
The victim's vehicle is observed driving towards Grissom, and will eventually take a left onto Grissom towards Bandera.
Okay, and the 14th clip. What time does the victim's vehicle depart their apartment complex?
So it's 22:22 hours on December 21st, 2023, or 10:22 p.m. Hour and 22 minutes off would be 11:44, or approximately 11:44 hours.
PM?
PM, sorry.
There's one more folder on here, and I think chronologically it's before what we just watched.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see. The first clip. What time is this clip at, from this video?
So it's 20:43 hours on December 21st, 2023, with hour 22 off would be, that's 8:43 p.m. So that would be 10:05 p.m.
And what are we seeing in this clip?
That's Matthew wearing what he appeared to be wearing, the vehicle with the black tracksuit with the white stripes and the white slippers.
And then in the second clip on this video?
It's Matthew walking towards the front parking lot area. I can observe some jewelry on his neck and what appears to be rings on his right hand. Right. Jewelry on his neck and what appears to be something like glistening on his, well, what appears to be either ring or pinky finger.
What is being in the third office?
It's just what appears to be Matthew walking towards the front parking lot area.
Can you circle it?
Oh, sorry, he was just right here.
All right.
There he is. Matthew walking back towards the entrance exit gate as the vehicle departs location.
And then the fifth clip.
Matthew walking back in the direction of his apartment, appeared to be wearing the same clothing and same white sandals.
And the sixth clip.
Matthew walking in the direction of his apartment.
Apart from the video that we saw a moment ago of the vehicle leaving, is this the last footage that we have of Matthew alive?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, in the course of your investigation, did you learn whether or not Matthew tended to wear any sort of jewelry?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
What did you learn?
I learned he wore a necklace with a pendant, he wore bracelets, and then he also wore rings on his fingers.
Any particular rings?
They were flashy rings, ones that would grab attention. In the photos, there was rings with a ruby, or red ruby, as well as another one with diamonds, and then another one that appeared to be gold on his index finger.
Let me approach him.
Yep.
This is gonna be the natural breaking point.
Okay.
I'm going to publish State's Exhibit.
Oh no, he touched the cords.
No, State's Exhibit 6, and ask if you recognize any items contained within State's Exhibit 6.
Yes, ma'am.
And what items were you referring to when you're talking about his jewelry?
So I'm talking about is he has ring finger, index finger, and then the gold that was still on his person. Then you have the gold and diamond one for his ring finger, and then another one with a ruby in the center with appear to be diamond gold on the pinky ring as well as his bracelet.